So this video is about the timeless fence system and setting up the wires around your perimeter for electric fencing. If you're like me and you bought some property or lease some property, preferably lease it if you can, and sorry, it's really muddy here. You had a barbed wire fence around the perimeter, and in my case it was barbed wire fence designed for horses, not cows, horses and cows, not goats or sheep. So sorry, it's really muddy here. So you get the basic arrangement is, I don't know, what is that, 10 feet, 12 feet? You have these T-posts, these metal T-posts, and the barbed wire is secured with these wire, little loopy things. Zoom out there so you can see that. That's what you're gonna get 99% of the time. Sometimes they'll attach it to wooden posts. They'll just use a staple to attach the barbed wire to a wooden post. So they put the barbed wire under tension. They use a tool called a fence puller to do that. They're fairly cheap tools. They're fairly easy to operate. And that's pretty much how the system works. Now, thing to keep in mind is that every barbed wire system is usually a hodgepodge of things put together after the fact, right? So if it's been around for any amount of time, it's probably been replaced or repaired, all kinds of stuff like that, right? So you kind of get what you get. Now, what I chose to do back in 2021 was I chose to get the wire and then run it on these T-post clips. And I calculated out the price. Basically, it's the price of 6 T-post clips versus a timeless fence post. Okay. The reason why 6 is because you can run the timeless fence post probably every other barbed wire. So you can set one here, skip a barbed wire T-post, and then put another timeless fence post, right? In my case, the price of the T-clips were much cheaper than the timeless fence posts, okay? Now, Greg Judy says don't do this, okay? What he's talking about, take a look at this. This is a good example here. These T-post clips, they fall apart. They wear out. You put them under tension, they break. And he says, oh, you're always out there fixing the fence. That's mostly true. There's a little bit of exaggeration there. In my case, if you look at my fence line here, there's no trees. So when a winter storm hits, nothing happens. That's not true for all of my perimeter. My back line there is covered with trees, and part of my side over there is covered with trees. And so yes, I do have to keep checking the fence system. Sometimes it'll break and I won't know it. How does it break? Well, if a T-post clip breaks, it will short with the if the T-post clip breaks, it'll short with the T-post. Why is that a tongue twister? Sometimes a grasshopper will bridge the gap between the wire and the T-post, and it'll short it out, okay? And so the grasshopper will cause it to spark. That's not really that big of an issue. Another issue that's not exclusive to T-post clips and anything else. It's just, the wire along the bottom, you get ant hills that grow up to it. Things might grow onto it and short it out. That typically isn't as big a problem as I thought it would be. I have not run through here with a weed whacker, weed trimmer, string trimmer, whatever, for 2 years almost. And it hasn't really been an issue. When it is an issue, I just go through with my boot and I just clear it out like that. Not a huge issue. Okay, so that's basically why I chose to do T-post clips versus the timeless fence system, is because of the cost. I don't know what the prices are in 2023. You have to take a look at it. When I was in 2021, things were weird. Prices were all over the board, right? I was able to get my first batch of wire super cheap. I wasn't able to get a second batch of wire for some time, and I had to end up settling for wire that I didn't want to use, that wasn't as high tensile, strong as I wanted. And that's what this fence is built out of. It's wires that, you know, if I could, I would have used a different kind of wire, but it wasn't available. Okay. But, you know, it works. At some point, this barbed wire system will start to fall apart. The barbed wire gets old, it starts to rust. You can repair it. It's not too hard to repair. It gets to be time consuming though. And when that happens, then what you have to do is tear down the whole thing and rebuild it, right? And I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years, I don't know how long they last, right? When that time comes, and if I'm faced with the expense of replacing the barbed wire fence, 100% I'm going timeless fence post system or something like that, right? It doesn't make sense to replace barbed wire with barbed wire when you're using electric wire. Electric wire is just better in so many different ways, especially when you get a good charger, which I got a good charger. I spent over $1,000 for it. I bought a charger that's way more than I want. Another thing, so my neighbor used these offset. You see there, put the wire further away from the post. I don't like those. The reason why I don't like them is they can't bear the weight of a reel, and they also tend to like fail in weird ways. So I really don't like the offset. I like the ones that are closer. They're just stronger. Okay. What else to say? Oh, there was a period of time after I set it up where I had to carry a bag of these T-post clips with me at all times, because I'd always find one that broke or that wasn't put on right. I'd have to fix it all the time. It was kind of annoying. It's been months since I had to fix a T-post clip. Okay. So it's not really, it hasn't really been an issue for me. Okay. So weigh the cost for yourself, the amount of labor too. You're going to drive a fence post in the ground versus putting 6 clips, in my case 6. The neighbor already did the 2 top ones, but you know, 6 or 10, whatever clips, 12, I don't know how many wires you want to run, you know. To me, it's the labor also. I think the fence posts would be more labor intensive driving that into the ground than just attaching the clips. You get pretty quick at attaching the clips. You know, we were doing almost as fast as we could walk. We just crouch down 1, 2, 3, get them on, and just go to the next one. So we got pretty good at it, pretty quick. Anyway, that's all there is to say about that. So think about what makes sense for you. Think about what you already got. Use what you got. Don't just throw it away. Would I do it again? Yeah, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. If somebody came to me and said, hey, I have a barbed wire fence, what do I do to put electric fence on? I'd say T-post clips. It probably makes economical sense. It's not that hard to do. And that's pretty much typical for people in this area. A lot of barbed wire. If they're putting up new fence, I'd say don't do barbed wire. Barbed wire is terrible stuff. I hate it. You know, I hate the fact that every time I go to work on the wire, I have to wear gloves. These things are sharp. Okay, they're meant to be sharp, you know. I hate the fact that cows will rub against it sometimes to scratch an itch. And I hate the fact, these guys, I mean, how many T-posts do I have on my property that's been bent by a tractor that just happened to nick it? You know, just mowing stuff, it just happens to nick it. Next thing you know, the T-post is bent over. And the T-posts, they're not stretchy. They don't bend back, you know. So it's annoying. And I have about 10 T-posts that I'm going to go buy when I get one of those round tuits, and I'm going to replace some of the broken T-posts and fix stuff and all kinds of stuff. But you know, so here's, I think this is horsehair. Yeah, the horse got his tail caught in there, you know. Anyway, yeah, I would 100% not do barbed wire if I could. But you got what you got, and you want to save as much money as possible. Keep your operating costs low, keep your overhead low. See this one, both of those clips broke. I don't know why they break, they just break. You know, and so it's a matter of time before they fall off. But you got what you got, use it. You know, in that video he talked about, I think it was Merrill was the old guy, and he built insulators out of old tire and a nail. And I don't think he realized, as Greg Judy said, the tire is actually slightly conductive. So, but that's what you got to do if you're going to succeed in this business, is you got to keep your expenses low. And you know, in business you have your overhead expenses, you have to keep those low, and your unit cost low, right? If your overhead expenses are high, you better make a lot of money by selling a lot of units. Well, your limiting factor is you only have so many acres. You can only put so many cows on so many acres. It's not like you're running a donut factory where you can bring in the night shift. You know, it doesn't work that way. So cows only grow so fast. So anyway, that's what I got to say about it. Oh, you got these weird situations where you want to cross the barbed wire with the wire, and that's where I would use the offset clips to keep it away from the barbed wire. There's a couple places where I wish I had them, but it works. All right, guys, that's all I have to say. Have a great day. Bye-bye.